brighter than light. He'll give you strife. He's Todd. He's tall, he's mean. He's labeling machine. He's Todd. Rides a motorbike. He'll tell you what it's like. He's Todd. Don't know what he'll say. He'll scare the kids away. He's Todd. He's Todd.
Hey, this place will wake you up if you're not already there. So I appreciate you attending episode 6. Can you believe this 6 episodes so far? We got a big crowd today, and every week it gets bigger, which means that there's really nothing for y'all to do out there, nothing better to do. We're going to touch on QR codes today and the barcoding in general, but I'm going to focus on the QR aspect of this. I hope everybody's doing well out there. I know the weather here in Carlsbad, California, it's finally sunny. We're going through the May gray, leading into June gloom, but you know, who cares? You can't go outside anyway. So I hear it's real nice out there. So again, thanks for joining. First and foremost, this is BS with Todd. I'm primarily known for BS, but in these episodes, it stands for Brother Solutions. If I do offend anybody out there, I really don't mean it. So don't take anything personal. But again, thank you for chiming again. And I want to thank all the little people. And speaking of little people, you know, he's all of maybe 5 foot. I want to introduce Mr. Jamie Brookover, my lovely assistant. Jamie, are you there?
I'm here.
Wow, look at you. Hey,
Little
nice,
people.
Well, yeah, well, you know, what's up with the hair growth or lack of? I mean,
look, it's my new quarantine.
Wow, goodness gracious, huh? Look at that. Jamie's going to be in the background. Jamie is going to be answering all your questions. QR codes and barcoding and stuff like that. Not the most exciting stuff out there, but you know what? We're going to blow your mind today. So be prepared to be BSified, if you will. This might take a few minutes longer than anticipated because QR codes, although as boring as they are, they're actually very important. And to give you a history of barcoding in general, we all see barcodes on, well, everything. If you look around and, you know, if you're as anal as I am about my job, you know, I'm always looking for labels and stickers and stuff like that. So barcoding is everywhere, whether you get a package from UPS, FedEx, whoever, they're on your mail. If you return a car, you know, they're there. When you check out at the grocery store, warehousing, you know, they're everywhere. And it started off real basic. And then it's developed into what we call 2D barcodes. And I'm going to spend most of my time today on 2D barcodes. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you kind of the history of barcoding. I'll go through it real quick because I don't want to put you to sleep before this is over. And then I'm actually going to print something. I did a little bit of homework last night and came up with a couple of labels. And I'm going to show you, this really is mind-blowing. And again, after I'm done with my BSification, if there are any questions afterwards, we will show all of our contact information. Reach out to us. We don't do the software for the barcoding. We actually print the barcodes. There's plenty of programs out there that you can use. Again, we're just going to print the barcodes. There are a lot of third parties out there that's all they specialize in, and they really charge a premium. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how inexpensive and how easy it is to do barcoding. So with that being said, let's go ahead and I'm not the best at this screen sharing crap. So bear with me as I kind of raffle through here. I'm going to share just a brief lineage of barcoding in general, if you will. Let's go to this slideshow. Come on, slideshow. All right. So barcoding is, instead of writing, And believe me, I go into environments to where they're still using duct tape and Sharpies as far as their warehouse management. And the whole idea behind barcoding is to avoid that, parts and pieces and widgets and doodads and stuff like that. So it also eliminates human error. But again, the barcoding is only as good as the human input, if you will. So here on your screen is just a brief understanding of what barcoding does as far as the symbiologies used with the basic barcodes. And by the way, this will be available afterwards. I gotta tweak it a little bit, but I just put this together real quick. So 1D barcodes, we're all used to 1D barcodes. And we see them on, again, the mail that's being delivered and the grocery store and on warehouse shelves. They're everywhere. That's the type of barcoding we're all used to seeing, all right? A UPC code, I think everyone out there knows a UPC code. It's primarily used for shipping and distribution, all right? There's only so many characters, and that's how barcoding works, by the way. And we get asked a lot of questions when we're out in the field. Well, back in the day when we were out in the field about barcoding. And I am no expert on it whatsoever. I'm not going to claim to be one, but the whole idea behind this is how many digits, how many characters you want to put into this barcode. And then subsequently, you have to have some type of scanner. And I know those scanners and software programs used to be very, very expensive. I'm going to show you how to do it from your phone today with free apps from iOS and Android. So anyway, UPC, as you can see, you limited the characters, all right? Basically number of digits, 11 plus 1, so it's limited, all right? You got the EAN code, and again, now you move up into the digits. You got 17 plus 1, depending upon the EAN type, and there's an example of the EAN, all right? Code 39, all right, now you get up into, more information that you can put on there. Number of digits in there, anywhere from 1 to 250, but now you start introducing different symbols. You can see the percentage symbol and the backslash and the $sign, and now you can start using lettering. So again, here's the code 128. And by the way, any green check mark that you see next to what you're looking at right now is what we print on these machines, and specifically the handheld machines are limited, and so is the desktop. But the handheld machines, starting with the PTE 300, it will print the majority of these. What you're going to see with the green check mark is going to be found on our P-Touch editor software. Now, I'm going to show you here in a little bit, and that's what I want to spend the most time on is showing you how to generate these barcodes, if you will. So here's an example of code 128. ITF, I don't even know what the hell this is, but you can put 1 to 250 characters in here, and it's not a it's not a popular barcode, all right? So next, all right? Code 93, next, all right? Coda bar. So a coda bar, now you can add more characters. It's primarily used in healthcare, education, and the mail. So when you get your mail, this is basically what you see. We do the coda bar as well. Again, not real popular. All right. The GS1 database, blah, blah, blah. All right. Again, not real popular out there. But again, these are all the different types of barcodes that business owners, warehouse managers, IT directors, you name it, you have the ability, based upon what you want to do specifically, to use these different types of barcodes. All right. MSI Plessy. Whatever. All right. Here's where we want to spend some time. All right. 2D barcodes. 2D barcodes are commonly known out there as, let's say, a QR code, maybe an Aztec code. QR codes a couple of years ago, if you guys remember out there, you started seeing them everywhere. And, they thought it was going to be the cat's meow. And it never really took off. And part of the reason was because of, the smart devices at the time. didn't really support it that well. Now, what I'll show you earlier, and I hope you guys know you can do this, but embedded on your Android and iOS, if you have the latest updates, all you have to do is turn your camera on and hover over a barcode. It's as simple as that, and that information will pop up. 2D barcodes are starting to become very popular again. All right, you can put a lot of information on there. You're somewhat limited, but you're not limited to the 0 through 9 or certain characters or whatever. All right, so we'll go into some of the information that can be put on these things, and then some of my ideas and some of what I've been pitching and selling out in the field as a solution. There's nothing worse than trying to put a flag label on, or trying to put a label on a rack or a cabinet that's got 11 lines of information on it. Number one, I'm old and I'm blind. I can't see it. But it's ugly. It really is. So I'm going to show you how to take that information, if you will, and transpose it into a 2D barcode. Here we go right here. All right. Now look at the bottom here. This is a regular QR code, but it takes all characters. You can do a maximum of 7,089 characters. And the way that's split up is that you got alpha and you got numeric. And if it's alpha, you can use so many. All right. You can use them a lot more. If it's only numbers, you can use a lot more. If you combine them, essentially what it does is you split that 789 in half if you're using either all alpha or all numeric. But again, 7,089 characters in this QR code is huge. And we're talking from a warehouse environment to, let's say you got a job box that's going out the door, and that job box has 200 tools in there. And from an asset management inventory control, you're going to scan that box and basically do an Excel spreadsheet of every tool you got in that box. All right. You're then going to take that Excel spreadsheet and you're going to transpose it into a QR code. As the box goes out the door, you scan it. It gives you a list of all the tools in there. As that box comes back, all right, you again, if you have somebody else checking that box in, all they have to do is scan this code. It tells them everything that should be in that box when it gets back. So again, QR codes are very popular. Data matrix code are primarily used in electronics and government entities. We do see a little bit of that out there. Again, it's not really popular, but it follows the same type of rules as a regular QR code. A PDF 417, logistics and government, we don't deal a lot with those things. We have a different division or brother called the enterprise team, and they would be more inclined to use this particular code right here. Is anyone still awake out there? All right, I'm starting to bore myself back here, so I'm going to try and rifle through this stuff, and I'm going to show you some real-time way that I'm going to do some barcode. Aztec codes are starting to become a lot more popular. I've seen them in medical environments. They were primarily developed for transportation, right, if you will. But I am starting to see a lot more. Part of the reason is from a proprietary level. Again, everybody on their phone has a QR code scanner, but it takes specific scanners or apps, if you will, to do Aztec codes. I'm going to leave this up here for just a second, because here are some of the free apps that everybody out there can download right now. If you use your iPhone or Android camera, you just hover over the barcode. I'm going to give you a live example of how that works later. Another great program out there is called Neo Reader. And I've gone through all these different programs, and basically I judge it by how quick it scans it. And, being a free app, of course, you got little ads and banners on the bottom, but some of them I've gotten rid of because of that. I've had Neo Reader on my particular phones, if you will, for the past 4 or 5 years. They keep updating based upon some of the new stuff out there. So as far as linear 1D barcodes, the ones I showed you before, like the UPC and the EAN type of barcodes, there's one called QR Reader, and it's a great free reader out there. Now, a lot of times you're not going to be able to walk up to anything and scan it. It's proprietary information, obviously. But if you want to generate them in-house and have folks out in the warehouse use them without having to buy the old-fashioned little guns and whatnot, they can utilize their smartphones now to read these. So with that being said, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a new share here, and this is where I always screw up on this thing. I am going to go into, you know what? Let's just go into here. Let's go into P-Touch Editor, because I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to generate barcodes. All right. So, you know what? I hope I'm seeing an issue down here. I'm seeing an issue. Hang on. Yep, and it stopped. Hang on, I'm going to have to restart a program here in a second, so that way I can share my phone with you. I think it went dormant on me. But anyway, let's go into P-Touch Editor software. I'm going to show you how to put some of these barcodes together, and then I'll restart that program in a minute. So, again, I did a little bit of homework last night. I came up with this right here. And boom. All right. This essentially, what you're looking at right now, took me 5 minutes to do. All right. So let's hypothetically say that I'm a data center manager, or I am a custom cabinet builder. All right. And I don't want anybody monkeying inside of that custom cabinet. All right. With this QR code, though, what it will do is it will actually bring up this. So let's say that I'm a field technician or whatever, going out to this cabinet, this rack, whatever the case may be. I don't know much about it, all right? But by scanning this, and this could be on the outside of the box, on the inside of the box, but what will happen is I can actually bring up this. And I'll show you how that's going to work here in a little bit. But from an outside perspective, not knowing what's in there, all right, I can do this, all right? So I can go through and I can, this whole diagram and blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's a lot of information based upon what's here, all right? But it makes it nice and easy to access this code out in the field. So let's go back here. That's one of the things I want to show you. The other thing I want to show you is this, and let me get this damn thing out of the way up here. That's one thing about Zoom. If you guys have not used it, you got this damn bar at the top of it that just screws things up. I'm sorry. So let's say that I want to do just a flag label, an anything label. All right. Here's something that's fantastic. And I was up in UCLA years ago, and they were using a competitor's printer, and they had 5 lines of information for every one of their cables out there, and they were using flag labels. And obviously it didn't follow 606C standards. It was kind of a homegrown type of cable identifier that they were using, but it was absolutely ridiculous. And you had to get close to this flag. And but imagine walking into an environment where you still have to use flags regardless, right? And there's a lot of environments out there in a data center. But what I've essentially done is, from a simple cable management perspective, if you walk into a data center, let's say, based upon my experience when I used to work for a living, doing low voltage, I'd go into a data center environment, and let's say there's a bad cable, and that bad cable is in, row H and, cabinet A, and I'm doing a tone and tag, and you can't find the documentation for the cable management, and then you don't know where that other end of that cable goes to, all right? Believe it or not, there's a lot of data centers out there, usually the smaller ones that, they're still using some archaic cable management, but this one I'm going to show you is just a very simplistic cable management type of ideology that I'm implementing out there. Now, what you can do if you are using some DSIM, all right, or cable management, if you can take that information and you can put it into, let's say, an Excel spreadsheet, which I'm going to show you here in a second. It's super easy to do. Now, what I've done is, and I'm going to connect one of the files. Let's go my database. Let's do my data center CMS. All right, I'm not using a header. So, bam. Now, as you can see, look at F1, F2, F3, F4, and F5. I've got row A, cabinet 1, panel 1, port 1, blah, 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 blah. I can keep going, and I can have 10 different columns on here if I want, and I can really get into the weeds as far as the information. But what I've done is I've concatenated. That's a big word for me, all right? I've concatenated all of these rows into F6, all right? So all I have to do essentially, and again, you've got 3,000 characters that I can put in this QR code that I'm going to put up here. But essentially all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to copy the first one. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to paste it as a barcode. And there I go. You can take the barcode. You can move it in any position. You can change the size of it. But now watch the barcode. Now I'm going to start printing all these out at the speed of light on one of these printers here. In fact, let me turn mine on because I'm going to give you an actual live demo. But watch the barcode change as I go down. So again, that barcode is reflecting whatever I have on the last column, which again is a concatenization. I don't even know if that's a real word or not. But if all of that is a concatenization of all the other columns, again, you can keep it real simple. Use a KISS method, which is my MO. Or again, based upon what you want to do, you can put that information in there, the type of cable it is, and you know what it's supporting, and whatever the case may be. So again, at this particular point, when I start printing off these, flags or cabinet racks, let's say you do a custom cabinet inside a data center, and you don't want anybody opening the damn door. Put all the information on a barcode. That way, somebody can come up, scan this with their phone, and away you go. Now, speaking of phones, a lot of data centers don't allow you to use phones out there, all right, because of the Wi-Fi. There are other readers you can use besides your phone for this, but in those environments that you can bring in a smart device, Wi-Fi device, whatever the case may be, you can utilize your phone. All right. So let's go back to what I was working with before. All right, and let's bring up this guy. And what I'm going to do is I am going to start a real quick program here so I can share my phone. Bear with me for a second, and then I'll bring that up lickety-split. So let me do escape, and let me get rid of this thing because we don't need it anymore. And sorry for the delay here. There's a great app for your computer out there. It's called 5K Player, by the way. It's free. And what it allows you to do is basically share your phone with your PC. And I talked a little bit about that last week. Not a big deal. I not get anything out of it, but it is a cool little tool. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen right now. I'll bring that up real quick. Let me go back into new share. All right. Let me go into here. All right. Hopefully you can see that. Here's my screen right now. Let's see. Now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to do this. All right. So I'll bring up my PTouch editor software and I'm going to print this. All right, let's go ahead and do print. By the way, here's kind of a behind the scenes look while I'm waiting for this to print. It truly is my garage.
We can't see your phone anymore, Todd.
I'm sorry?
It's back on PTouch Editor. We can't see your phone anymore.
Really? Well, let's try it again. Jamie, how about now?
We can see your phone now.
Fantastic. Well, you just missed it printing, damn it. But that's a label I printed. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hover over this QR code like so and watch what happens. I'm that tech out in the field, and I want to know what's inside that particular box, cabinet, whatever. Isn't that mind-blowing? That is some really cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. So now let's go back to the label that I printed for a flag. All right, so here is the label the flag label I printed. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different program here. So let me get out of this. Let me go into, so imagine now I'm a tech, I'm walking up to a fiber, copper, whatever the case may be, and instead of having any type of alphanumeric characters on there, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to scan this with QR reader. QR reader comes up. Now I know exactly where that particular cable goes. All right. I mean, again, it's mind-blowing what you can do with barcoding and QR codes. One of the things that we do, and I'm going to stop this share real quick. One of the things that we do is we help you with this process. It is a value add service that Brother has. Please reach out to us anytime because I've got videos on how to do this already. We can certainly do a Zoom session. I mean, everything these days is virtual, obviously. So, here's my office. Here's my work environment. So I sit here 8 hours a day. Doing stuff like this. I know my bosses are watching. So, this is what I do. So please, if you have any questions on barcoding in general, how to utilize the software that I showed you, reach out to me at any time. So real quick, I'm going to do what time? 10:27. So we're going to end this in just a second here, but let me show you real quick. Again, some of the applications that I'm using. So right here is that QR reader. I like QR reader a lot. Let me get out of this. Over here, there's one called ScanLife. It's okay. All right, it's just another avenue. Now, keep in mind is some of these apps work with certain barcodes and they don't work with others. And I really haven't found one that has done everything. Here's that Neo reader. I like that Neo reader. I like it a lot. All right. This is primarily good for what I just showed you as far as going to, these websites. All right. So as you can see, here's Neo reader, and all I have to do at this particular point in time is click on that, and then away I go. All right. It's going to bring up that schematic that I showed you earlier. What else? So I think that's it as far as the apps. I've got Cam Scanner on there, not too good. But again, if you have any questions on the apps to use, reach out to us. If you have any questions on generating things like what I showed you here, reach out to me. I mean, it's simple. If you want to learn how to do this yourself, that's fine. If you want to do it on a broader scale, let us help you with that project. So again, any data center folks, anybody in a closet environment, custom cable assembly, custom cabinet, a panel shop. Oh man, this would be great for a panel shop. Fantastic for a panel shop. And we've done some work, some really big projects up in Des Moines, Iowa, of all places. During the winter time, actually. Anyway, we're here to help you with that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this right now. Please reach out to Jamie with any and all questions. By the way, I told you last week that I'm going to continue to grow this until all of this is done. Hopefully it ends pretty soon. It's getting kind of ugly. The other thing I wanted to show you is 3 weeks ago, all right, I put the one here in water. I know it's tough to see, but there's a flag label in there. There's also a cable wrap label in there. This one's in oil. All right. So these have been in here for 3 weeks. So keep that in mind when you're choosing a labeling solution. is that we're very tough labels. We last. We're only going to come off until you peel us off. With that being said, Kelly, if you would put up episode 7, I think we're on 7 already. Good God. All right. So I think Kelly's going to put up episode 7 here as far as next week. It's going to be our desktop overview. So the desktop overview essentially can do everything the handhelds will, but now you're at the desktop level, and we have desktops ranging from portable mobile desktops to ones that have to be tethered to a PC, and we're going to go through all that. So actually, we can do a lot more with these desktops. So stay tuned for episode 7. I want to thank you again for tuning in to episode 6. Kelly, if you could put up our contact information up there. We got me here in Carlsbad, California. Contact me with any time or with any, hell, you need some bad advice? Hey, I'm the man. Any labeling, reach out to me at any time. We've got Mr. Jamie Brook over, which you saw earlier. Mr. Dan Cobb, primarily MRO accounts. Mr. Bruce Page out on the East Coast. We got Mr. Rob Dawkins, who primarily deals with manufacturing, and our glorious leader, Mr. Craig Robinson. With that being said, I want to thank everybody again. Episode 7 already.